Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1700B, and today's date is November 5th, 2018, and the title of the episode is The Numbers Add Up, Stay Strong, Divided No More. Now, before we get started, I want to talk about being prepared. We all know the deep state, they like to play dirty. We know they push events. I remember when I was in New York City during the 2003 blackout, I wish I had a tool to charge my phone and use it so I can see inside the building. Well, the Patriot Survival Flashlight, it's solar powered, it has a rope and wire cutter, glass breaking hammer, a magnet to pick up metal objects, lantern light so you can read by your desk, a USB port to charge your phone anywhere, emergency lights, and a compass. This phone has it all. Now, this flashlight is an all-in-one lifesaver. I wouldn't go anywhere without it. It's lightweight but very durable. Patriot Flashlight, it's either a perfect gift or buy it for yourself. And if you use the code X15, you will get 15% off your Patriot Survival Flashlight. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, we're coming up to that period of time where either the deep state remains in control or the deep state loses complete control. I believe the deep state is going to lose all control at this point because we're starting to see real evidence, real truth come out, and a lot of people are waking up right now, starting to realize what is really going on here. And we need to go back to Christine Blasey Ford, where she was saying that Kavanaugh, when they were in high school, raped her or tried to attack her. And she's the one that, got all the $1 million book deals afterwards, collected the GoFundMe campaign money, and she testified in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee. There was an investigation to see if she was telling the truth. And the Senate Judiciary Committee, Chairman Chuck Grassley, released the committee's report on her allegations, and what did it find? It found there is no evidence to support the allegations. So let's read what the Senate Judiciary tweeted out here. Chairman Chuck Grassley released a 414-page report on the allegations made against Justice Kavanaugh during the confirmation process. Conclusion: no evidence to support the allegations. I'm sure no one's really stunned by this. Let's read on. This was a serious and thorough investigation that left no stone unturned in our pursuit of the facts, Grassley said. In the end, there was no credible evidence to support the allegations against the nominee. Committee investigators spoke with 45 individuals and took 25 written statements relating to the various allegations made in the course of the confirmation process. In neither the committee investigation nor in the supplemental background investigation conducted by the FBI was there any evidence to substantiate or corroborate any of the allegations. So right now, through all these investigations, they found absolutely nothing. And when we looked at the story and we tried to follow the timeline, a lot of things were missing. There were a lot of holes in it. And now this is on record showing that there was no one to corroborate this story. Now, this was the first push to try to get Kavanaugh out of the way. It did not work. Their plan did not work. And we're seeing other individuals step forward saying that, yeah, it was a lie. I was doing it for attention. And these people are now in trouble. Do you think those people that put these people up to it, they're taking responsibility for this? No. They're saying, hey, I have nothing to do with these individuals. And we see at this time, the deep state, they are in trouble because they're being exposed. Everything has changed now. I mean, yes, the mainstream media, they're going to continue on with their propaganda, but we're looking at different facts. We're looking at what's really going on here. Now, in Saudi Arabia, billionaire Saudi Prince Alawid bin Talal, who was reportedly strung up and beaten by U.S. mercenaries during the Saudi Arabian purge exactly 1 year ago, said on Sunday that an official investigation into the death of journalist Jamal Khashoggi will exonerate the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. 100%. Well, we'll have to see how that plays out. But we know that this was another operation. We had many things happen during this month of October. I mean, everything was squeezed in to 3.5 weeks? And it was the month of chaos. Now, the U.S., and this is the Trump administration, they are pushing Saudi Arabia to end the war in Yemen. Remember, the war was created by the deep state because the Houthis threw out the puppet regime. Now, the deep state does not like this. You don't mess with their puppet regime. So they had Saudi Arabia invade Yemen and start the war. Yemen never invaded or fired at or did anything to Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia actually started the war. Deep state was behind Saudi Arabia at the time. Now things are changing. The U.S. government, the administration, is telling Yemen it's time to end this. Now remember, a lot of these countries, a lot of these different areas, they've been used to taking orders from the deep state for a very long time. And most of the time they're getting conflicting orders, one from the Trump administration and one from the deep state. The same thing happened in North Korea until the deep state was completely removed. And the same thing's happening to many of these countries within the Middle East. The deep state still has a hold on a lot of these countries, even Iran and many others. But this is all going to come to an end. And if you notice, the Trump administration is becoming more and more powerful in the way that they can go after these different countries to say, no, it's time to end this. And we're going to see the wars, and actually they're dwindling down now. They're going to be dwindling down in Afghanistan. They're going to be dwindling down in Yemen. We're going to see it over in Syria. We're going to see it in Libya. And the deep state, they're done for right now. And they know it. They know this is a huge problem. Now, the U.S. placed more sanctions on Iran, and some countries got a temporary waiver. South Korea, Taiwan, Turkey, Greece, Japan, China, India, and Italy. And eventually what they're going to have to do, they're going to have to figure out, what else, how else they can get crude oil imported into their country. Because right now, a lot of these countries, India, Taiwan, Japan, Turkey, South Korea, Europe, they import Iranian crude right now, so they have waivers at this time. But eventually those waivers, they're going to expire, and they're going to have to figure out what else to do. This is all about putting pressure on Iran, putting pressure on the deep state to talk to the Trump administration and rework the nuclear deal. Now remember, the deal that Obama made, well, that is with not just nuclear weapons. That's about keeping the deep state in the country, pushing certain operations, and everything else. Trump, his administration, the patriots behind him, he wants this to end, just like in North Korea. So this is pressure being put on Iran right now to push the deep state out of the country. And I think eventually what's going to happen, it will work, because right now Europe is not coming up with a deal to pay Iran. And this is the biggest problem, because the European countries are afraid of what the U.S. will do. So none of them are stepping up right now. And that's the biggest part of the plan, is their payment, the money that they were receiving. And they're not receiving it right now. And eventually, they will fold. We see since Russia placed the S-300 missile system inside of Syria, they delivered about 49 units, and it's all around Syria, protecting the north. They already have it down in the south. Since they placed the S-300 long-range surface-to-air missile systems in Syria, Israel hasn't attacked Syria since that time. They haven't flown their missions inside to bomb Damascus, to bomb certain areas, which tells you that Russia has locked down the airspace. And it looks like anyone that's left inside, they are doomed. The war is coming to an end in Syria. The coalition troops, the U.S. troops, they're going to be leaving that area. And it's just a matter of time. Let's get into some of Q's post here. Q put up, post 2400, put up a Twitter link from ABO Warrior, and it says, "Eyes on VIP Patriot." And the tweet says, "Not only at the Trump rally tonight, but directly behind the podium." Shows a picture of that person there. So this is a VIP Patriot at Trump's Pensacola rally. Moving on to post 2401. Q put up a link to Washington Post, and it's talking about art and how it can distinguish between conspiracy and reality. And Q under this says, when you can't discredit this movement using logic and facts, you resort to comparing it to art. How many articles has the Washington Post released attacking the Q movement? Why is the Washington Post dedicated to attacking this movement? Washington Post, owned by Amazon. ABC's and Amazon gave another link to The Atlantic, and this is the details about the CIA's deal with Amazon. A $600 million computing cloud built by an outside company is a radical departure for the risk-averse intelligence community. The intelligence community is about to get the equivalent of an adrenaline shot to the chest. This summer, a $600 million computer cloud developed by Amazon Web Services for the Central Intelligence Agency over the past year will begin servicing all 17 agencies that make up the intelligence community. If the technology plays out as officials envision, it will usher in a new era of cooperation and coordination, allowing agencies to share information and services much more easily and avoid the kind of intelligence gaps that preceded September 11, 2001. Well, we know what happened back in September 11, 2001. It was an inside job. So there really was no intelligence gaps, and they kept other parts of the government very, very busy while they pushed their agenda. So under this, Q says, if we aren't a threat or real, or simply just a conspiracy theory, why the constant heavy attacks? Then gave a link to a YouTube video. This is Flynn giving a speech about the cyber army on social media. Take a listen.
And we have an army, okay, as a soldier and as a general, as a retired general. We have an army of digital soldiers. What we are now, what we call, I call them, because this was an insurgency, folks. This was run like an insurgency. This was irregular warfare at its finest in politics. And that story will continue to be told here. But we have what we call citizen journalists. Okay? Because the journalists that we have in our media did a disservice to themselves, actually more than they did to this country. They did a disservice to themselves because they displayed an arrogance that is unprecedented. And so the American people decided to take over the idea of information. They took over the idea of information, and they did it through social media.
Now, under that link of Flynn giving that speech, there's a statement, which is bold in brackets, information warfare, IW, destroy the controlled narrative. Power belongs with the people. Where we go one, we go all. 3 brackets, Q plus, close 3 brackets, Q. So what is this all about? This is information warfare with the Washington Post, Amazon, CIA, all attacking Q and Trump. Let's move on to post 2402. Q put up a Twitter link. Under it, it says Eyes on VIP Patriot Q. And this is from the Purpose Prophet. And it says, 4 hours for the great defender to arrive in Georgia. We are up front and carrying the Q Annan baby. Q confirmed flag back to POTUS. And we can see that Q has been following all these individuals around at the different rallies. Let's move on to post 2403. Q put up the American flag. Be the difference, vote. Your country needs you. Your vote matters. We the people. And put up a link to a YouTube video. And this video is Reagan, Peace Through Strength. Take a listen.
Let me make this an absolute fact. The goal is world peace. That must be our prime responsibility. We are the leader of the free world whether we want to be or not. And therefore we are the only ones that can preserve the peace. And to do that we must have strength.
Now, Q went on to say, the time is now. Patriots fight. Finally, be strong in the Lord and his mighty power. Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes. For our struggles is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything to stand, stand firm then, with the belt of truth buckled around your waist, with the breastplate of righteousness in place, and with your feet fitted with the readiness that comes with the gospel of peace. In addition to all this, take up the shield of faith, with which you can extinguish all flaming arrows of the evil one. Take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, and pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests. With this in mind, be alert and always keep on praying for all the saints. And then I went on to say, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by the Creator and certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed, that whatever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its power in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Declaration of Independence. We will do our job to protect the vote. Will you do yours? Will you answer the call? Where we go one, we go all. Post 2404. And Q put up a link to VIP Patriots. Now, there's a couple of them here. So Q put up from 2404 all the way up to 2411 all the different pictures where Q is keeping an eye on all VIP patriots. Q says 5 by 5 by all of them. And if you want to see the pictures, you can come to the X22 Report and you can click on the links. Or if you're on YouTube, you're seeing the pictures right now. Now, on post 2414, Q put up a lot of these Twitter links showing that Q is watching everyone everywhere, showing that, yes, we notice you. And under this, it says, eyes on VIP Patriots, the world is watching. Let's move on to post 2415. Put up 3 more Twitter links. And the first one says, hey Q, did you see my friends at the Topeka rally? The next one says, do you see QAnon, Ohio rally in Lebanon? The other one says, do you see us Q, setting our support from a small town in Iowa? And under this, it says, eyes on Patriots, long dashes, and together we are strong, together we win. So basically, Q is showing that all of us together, we are strong. We're not divided. We're as one. Where we go one, we go all. Moving on to post 2416. Q says, panic in D.C. If you witness members of Antifa or any other people or organization stationed at key voter locations making threats or attempting to use scare tactics, and the next 2 words are in brackets in bold, voter intimidation, please contact local authorities immediately and report the incidents. Internal comms suggest preparations are being made and organized to conduct a 29-plus location push. Battleground locations. Now, Q told us about this yesterday, where all the illegal immigrants, they are stationed near the Democrat strongholds. And I think this is what Q is telling us right now. See something, say something. Uninformed and non-informed personnel will be stationed across the country in an effort to safeguard the public. If you witness anything out of the ordinary with regards to a staff, officials, machinery, and equipment failures and or malfunctions, unusual grouping, buses dropping off people with guide and or instructors, voter prevention, blocking people from voting, or other suspicious activity, please contact local authorities immediately and report these incidences. See something, say something. Take a picture and or video only when safe to do so. If you are in danger, do not take the picture. If they're coming at you, don't take the picture. Run or defend yourself. And basically it says Q after this. So Q is telling us they're hearing chatter that this is what is going to happen at many of these areas, trying to push fraudulent voting. And we can see right now that Q is saying be on the lookout for voter intimidation and suppression. Moving on to post 2417. Q put up a picture of movie posters and it says now playing in theaters 4, 5, and 6. And the first one, it says Guardians of the Pedophiles. The second movie poster is Panic in DC. And the third one is FISA-gate. Moving on to post 2418. Within post 2418, Q put up post 2032. And this is about endorsements by daily newspapers. Trump has none, and Clinton has pretty much all of them. And way at the bottom, Q put up 2 Twitter feeds, Twitter links, from Trump, and they say the following. So funny to see the CNN fake suppression polls and false rhetoric. Watch the real results Tuesday. We are lucky CNN's ratings are so low. Don't fall for the suppression game. Go out and vote. Remember, we now have perhaps the greatest economy jobs in the history of our country. He also went on to say, law enforcement has been strongly notified to watch closely for any illegal voting, which may take place in Tuesday's election or early voting. Anyone caught will be subject to the maximum criminal penalties allowed by the law. Thank you. Under this, it says polls are rigged and do not capture an accurate snapshot. Basically, the deep state likes to control what people are thinking and what people should do. If they see that everyone is voting for one candidate, they feel, oh, look, we can control them, and maybe these people won't vote for the other candidate or vote for the popular one. This is what they try to do with these polls. Silent majority. Will you answer the call? Vote, vote, vote. Q. Post 2419. Q put up a link. This is a Twitter link, and it's Pascal. And the link says, want to have a conversation directly with real Donald Trump today? In 15 minutes at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, the president will be on the phone live. Call in now. Gave the phone number 877-229-8493. Passcode 116234. Brad Pascal. Under this, Q says, what number does the passcode add up to? 4 annons, Q. So when you add up the passcode, 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 6 is 8, plus 2 is 10, plus 3 is 13, plus 4 is 17. 17 is Q. So the passcode to talk to Trump is 17Q. So the entire message that Q is putting out there is don't let the mainstream media, don't let these people cheat, don't let these people get the upper hand by doing things illegally. Speak loudly, stay together. Where we go one, we go all. Vote. And show the establishment, show the deep state who is in power. We, the people, we are in power. And the only way to show them is not to scream on the top of your lungs, not to smash windows. We don't do that. The ultimate way to show the establishment, the deep state, the central bank, that we have the power, well, it's to vote and to show them that we control who we want. We control where we go. We control the country, not the deep state, not the unelected. It's we, the people. This is by far the most effective way of flexing our muscles, showing our strength, showing the establishment who is in power. And we do this in a peaceful way. We do it with no violence. We do it in silence. The power comes from all of us together. The power comes from people that are united. The power comes from everyone speaking with one voice that is so loud that it drowns out the deep state, the central bank, the establishment. When the people come together as one, when the people are united, that's power. That's strength. That's where we go one, we go all. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.